Welcome to Coffee with the Mayor. I'm Teresa Aronson, President and CEO of the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. It is our pleasure, our honor to host this event every second Friday of the month. It's free. It's open to the public. We provide coffee in Danish, courtesy of silver platter entrees. And it starts at 8:30 a.m. And if you can't tell, we are actually in council chambers. We're doing it this year, the whole year in council chambers. It's working out well for us. We seem to have a great audience. So hopefully you'll join us next month if you're watching at home. We start, as we always do, with our sponsor. And this year we were very lucky to have back one more time Treasure Coast Health System, and that is actually the HCA family. It includes Lawnwood Regional Medical Center and Heart Institute, St. Lucie Medical Center, the Heart and Family Institute. They have a new emergency room out off of Port St. Lucie Boulevard near Darwin. And of course, we have today from Lawnwood Regional Medical Center and Heart Institute, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. It's Christine Matthijs. And you are the manager of physical medicine and rehabilitation, correct?
Correct.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So you do rehabilitation, but you were talking earlier, or Landy was telling me a little bit earlier, that you guys do outpatient.
We do. We provide outpatient services for physical, occupational, and speech therapies.
Oh, speech therapy as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's your typical patient? Like, who would come to be with you?
We have a very wide range. We actually see patients from birth through older adults. So we do have a therapist for speech therapy and occupational that sees pediatric patients, and all the way through older adulthood.
And they would probably be referred to you?
Yes, they have to be referred by a physician. You need a physician order. And then from that point on, we check insurance and start our therapy plan of care.
And everybody always wants to know when we do these segments, you guys pretty much take all types of insurance. The HCA family is pretty well stooped in insurance plans, correct?
Correct.
So don't be afraid to ask questions and see, like typically if you're a parent and you think maybe your child needs therapy, speech therapy, how would they go about it? See their pediatrician?
Yes, the first step would be see the pediatrician. We can't start the process without a physician order, so we actually need a prescription for the therapy that they are specifying. And then from that point on, they would actually contact our outpatient center, and they would gather all the information for insurances, run that, and then recontact you regarding what is covered, how many visits, if there is any financial responsibilities.
Okay. And what makes you guys unique, do you think?
I think our biggest power and our strongest asset is the fact that we have a long continuum of care. So we see our patients sometimes from the hospital, through rehab, whether it's an inpatient rehab with us or somewhere else, and then they come back to outpatient. So because of our trauma line services, we cover all aspects of therapy.
You do? Yeah, anything from speech therapy, physical therapy, so everything, hip replacement, all of that stuff comes to you. And are you able to allow patients to go home sooner by having your facility at Lawnwood? You know, maybe they had hip surgery and they can...
Yeah, very often the option is either going to an inpatient rehab where they would be staying and continuing an inpatient stay, or going home and doing outpatient. And doing the outpatient for some families is what's most appropriate for them. So being able to come into us multiple times a week and continuing their therapy helps them progress and stay in the home environment.
Very good. Now, can we give everybody at home some information on where to go and look and where to start, and maybe if they needed to contact you, perhaps they're getting physical therapy with some other resources and they're thinking of moving over to Lawnwood, where should they call, or what website should they go to?
Our information is on the regular Lawnwood website, which is lawnwoodmed.com. Our direct outpatient line is 772-468-1200. That brings you directly. You don't go through the switchboard. And at that point, you'd be able to contact and find out which information you needed to start your therapy services.
Very good. And last question, how long have you been with the HCA family?
I've been with HCA since 2004. I started with St. Lucie. I've been with them for many years, and then picked up with Lawnwood last July.
Very good. Congratulations. That's a long time. They're a great company.
It is a great company.
And thank you for being with us.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Sure, anytime. And just hang out with us for just a little bit, and we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with our mayor. Of course, we have this year decided that every month will be the mayor's month right here on Coffee with the Mayor, and we're excited about that. He always brings us a wealth of information, so stay tuned, everybody. Welcome back to Coffee with the Mayor. I am Teresa Aronson, President and CEO of the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. It's our pleasure, our honor to do this event with everybody here in the audience. Thank you for joining us. But you too can come on down. It's the second Friday of the month, 8:30 a.m. at Council Chambers right here at City Hall. Free, open to the public. We even throw in coffee and Danish to sweeten the pot a little bit. And also this guy, it is the one, the only, the Honorable Mayor Gregory Orvek. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We're standing a little bit, which is, I feel like I'm going to walk
You
around.
want to violate HIPAA
I do.
again?
No,
Okay, all right.
not on TV, I don't. So
after our last Coffee with the Mayor, as so often happens, I was completely depleted, you know.
I sucked the life right out of it.
I was hospitalized, so I blew out my lower back. I was a secret shopper at a local hospital, was taken care of very well, and everything is great. I just can't sit.
Yeah.
Which is okay, because I burn 500 more calories a day standing. So silver linings.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
You'll get fit, but can't sit. All right. It should be a motto of
Well,
all.
reading week was a couple weeks ago, but that was very good, Dr. Seuss prose there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
I'm a poet. All right, so sorry, we digress. We will talk about some real substantive things here on the agenda, and I'll let you start. What do you want to talk about first?
Well, let's first give an update on Crosstown. So at last month's Coffee with the Mayor, we talked about Crosstown, and we were reflecting on the fact that we had started construction, that we had finally gotten the long-awaited South Florida Water Management District permit, but then also there was some local stories and some other things that casually said, well, it'd be easy to change the route. And that really failed to recognize that we had gone through an 11-year, $5 million process that selected our route. And so it was really nice, right on the heels of that last Friday, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously, three-judge panel, said that the route was carefully and properly selected. So that means that we've cleared the board of all legal challenges. So not only have we started construction of Crosstown, really there's no legal impediments. The only thing left on that to-do list, other than building the darn thing, is the Army Corps of Engineer permit, and then the U.S. Coast Guard permit. But we expect that the U.S. Coast Guard permit will be issued almost immediately upon the Corps' permit. So the Corps permit, the Army Corps of Engineers permit, is really the last substantive check mark to be had on starting the construction of the actual bridge. Now, the bridge, you know, you have roads which approach to the river. Those have already started. And so that Army Corps permit is just for the actual crossing of the river. So the project has started. March 6th is the community information meeting. It's in the evening. All the information is available on the website, but you know, I think it's 5:30, 6-ish.
So what do you think? Best guess, if I had to pin you down and say, when can I drive on it?
Well, everyone who's done that before has been burned. But
That's true.
What I will say is that staff is representing 800 days and change.
Okay. Divide that by 365.
But you know, you might imagine that that's not good enough for some of us. So what I say to staff is, that's nice, but figure out how it can be done, or at least the parade and the crossing, the ribbon cutting, because the ribbon cutting should be a parade on something like this.
Absolutely.
Make sure that it's scheduled by the end of 2018.
Okay.
So by the end of the calendar year 2018, we either have to be having that parade or at least having it scheduled, because we're just doing the punch-out items, or we're going to start the new year in 2019 with our long-awaited Crosstown Bridge being done.
Will you be satisfied if we could go like halfway across and stand at the precipice of that? No.
No Dukes of Hazzard jumping over.
I'm willing.
No, none of that. None of that.
Okay, very good. I mean, I hope so, and I do know that we've, you know, for all intents and purposes, have met and gone through all the challenges associated with this. So we've started. They're out there. They're working.
They have. The gopher tortoises have been relocated. They are in very fine accommodations.
I hear they've got a lovely new home in the center of the state.
Actually, and when you get in trouble, she actually feeds them romaine lettuce. That's the thing. Yeah.
I want to so bad, but I know better, but I want to because they're so cute, and I see them in my yard, and I want to feed them, but don't do that because you don't know what could harm them, and it's
Yes, don't feed the wild animals.
Don't feed the wild animals.
But the gopher tortoises are being relocated, have been relocated. The utilities,
46 of them, I hear?
I don't think that's right. I think that's right. It's definitely in the right neighborhood.
See, I remember the stupidest things. I really like turtles, so 46 turtles I can remember. But
Tortoise.
Tortoises.
Yeah,
Tortoise.
Don't offend the turtle population. The underground.
I'm gonna get an email.
Oh, well, that's good. Then you know someone's watching. But the utility relocates have also started, and they'll start the road work because there's, I think, over a mile of road work to get done. And speaking of roads, we have over 1,000 lane miles of roads in Port St. Lucie, and that's one of the challenges to stay up on repaving, because there's just more lane miles than there is money dedicated to the repaving budget, and that's something that we need to look at and to continue to work on. But I bring it up because I think one of the downsides to all the development that we're having and all of the activity, I think we're having another banner year for tourism. Clearly people are pouring into the city again. There's just, at our foundation, we're safe, we're clean, and we're green. But right now, if you drive the city, I think you might notice that we've had an uptick in our litter. And if we're gonna stay true to our identity of being safe, clean, and green, we can't have that. So I'm calling on you and everyone watching to please help us keep Port St. Lucie beautiful. We have an Adopt a Street program where in the past we've had up to 100 teams. We need to get over 100 teams. We need, and in that program, just if you're not familiar, I think twice a month you go out, you clean a defined section of the road. We will actually help you with supplies. We will pick up the trash. We will put up a sign recognizing your commitment to the city. You or your, personally, my family, we do it.
We did it once too. We had a little sign that said Aronson family.
No, good.
Yeah.
But only once? You don't do it anymore?
Well, I moved.
Okay.
I moved.
Right.
I actually
She got
do
really
it.
lucky there.
My neighbors know, if you live by me, I'm obsessive about it. I have a bucket and claws, and I'm out there all the time because we live on the water and it washes up. I can't stand it. So, not officially, but believe me, I do it.
Well, and that's really important, just personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Because, really, that is a problem that other people who are acting in a careless and kind of thoughtless manner are putting on the rest of us. But really, just being clean is so important. We actually got a guy in the audience, one of your ambassadors, Gary.
Yep.
And he actually heads an organization called People Serious About Litter.
He does.
And I've collected litter with him and his team on many occasions. And he's clearly an overachiever, and he's helping clean up the mess that other people make. But we all need to pitch in because it's a community issue. And you might say, is that important in the grand scheme of things? Actually, it's really important.
Very.
It's the look of the city, it's the feel of the city, and we have to be true. We can't say safe, clean, and green and not mean it. So safe, we are the safest large city. We have the championship belt. Unfortunately, there's not as an objective measure for litter, but it's just as important. So really, please help. If you're not part of the Adopt a Street program, please think about joining the Adopt a Street program, and we'd really appreciate it.
And they can do that how? I know it's, is it still through your Public Works Department?
We actually have the Keep Port St. Lucie Beautiful, a little section, little division, but it's on the webpage. So if you go to the cityofpsl.com and just search Adopt a Street, it's going to be right there for you.
I do it because I've seen too many YouTube videos of squirrels with the heads stuck in cups. It drives me crazy. So I'm always like, no, that's terrible. It's not funny. Put the camera down and take it off their head.
I was smiling at the thought of you watching a YouTube video.
I get angry at them. I'm like, it's not cute. Take the cup off, But yeah, so that's why I do it. I'm quite obsessive about it. But I love the wildlife and. All that stuff is dangerous. The plastic things that come off cans get stuck on birds' necks, and so I'm always out there cleaning it up. But I should probably do it officially, and I will look into that. Because,
well, we'd really appreciate it if the Chamber could help out. But going to your point about the impact on nature, more than just aesthetics and property values, because no one likes trash.
No.
That's the weird thing about it. If you would give people a illustration survey and say, hey, do you like this or do you like this? No one likes trash.
Kind of like a charrette on trash.
Yeah, well, and there is such a thing. But to your point about the impact on nature, everything that you see on your roads or in the edge of your right-of-way, everything you see there eventually will make it to the river. It's going to make it to that storm drain or into that swale. It's going to get washed into a lake, and then it's going to flow out of that lake into the St. Lucie River and then into the Indian River Lagoon. And so that's part of the problem. It increases turbidity. The amount of sediment in the water shades out the light so the organisms can't grow. And then I think at this point we all know about six-pack, the plastic rings, and what they do. But any plastic, our sea turtles, which we have many of, we have several different varieties that call the Treasure Coast home, they eat it. And they're not, obviously they're not made
of their diet.
No, it is not.
No, there's no creature on God's green earth that subsists on a diet of plastic and trash.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for the audience,
Except
I could make a million arguments on why this is bad. The other is that all of that debris will block up your actual storm drain, because if you think about the cardboard and the metal, and it forms a pretty tight mesh, and then all of a sudden your storm drains don't drain, and you're wondering why your street and then maybe your garage is flooded.
Yeah.
It's because some knuckleheads threw too much stuff into the right way.
But I don't know if there's anybody that would argue for litter, right? No, okay.
Oh, there's a lady in the back.
No,
Get her! Get her!
So yes, it is an important issue, and I will reach out to Keep Port St. Lucie Beautiful, because I do it all the time. I do it on the weekends. It's my hobby. And
Well,
we all
thank
have
you.
to have some. What else did you want to talk about? Career and technical education?
Sure.
Actually, I want to mention that Treasure Coast High School was here today, and they're having a business community.
Titans in the house.
Yep. They're
Titan
having
born, Titan bred.
business community breakfast, and they're inviting people from the business community to come out and see their career and technical education that they have there, sports marketing and a couple other ones. But we also do it at the school or at the chamber. As you know, we go once a quarter to a high school to talk about career and technical education. And for those of you that are watching and maybe don't know, what that is it's little academies at each of the high schools that specialize in an area of growth. So maybe you want to go on to college in sports marketing, maybe it's automotive, they have vet tech at Westwood, just a myriad of different things. So, but it's not traditionally what we used to call vocational school, right?
I don't think you're not allowed to say that
I know
anymore.
I'm going to get another email, but just, But yes, but we call it career and technical education. I was just in my hometown a few weeks ago, and they actually call it career and technical. It used to be the joint vocational school, and now it's the career and technical school. But it's still the same concept, and the chamber has come out and said we need a school dedicated to that. And I know you feel the same way. We need to have opportunity for all of our students in all phases of education.
We do, and I'm very grateful. I think the whole council is unified right now. The city has a strategic plan, has many elements. One of the elements is education, and not just one segment, but the whole education pipeline. We would like to see high-quality lifelong learning in Port St. Lucie. And there's so many different players in education, and when you say education, it's such a heavy topic. I mean, there's so many different aspects to it. But if we want to connect people and go from when they pop out, when they're born, all the way to their adult life and prosperity, that's the pipeline. And so if you think about it, it entails pre-K.
Yep.
And then you have your primary and secondary.
Yep.
And then somewhere in that 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, children start to self-identify. And we push our children nowadays to university. On the university track. But the reality is there's also this career technical track that's equally as important, equally as good. And we have to be careful that as we continue to push the university track, that we don't impugn, that we don't cast shade on the career technical. Because there's nothing wrong with being technical and making 2 or 3 times what the mayor makes. There's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Is really the truth.
It is.
Yeah, and what's funny is we are making a push towards getting more manufacturing back in our country as a whole. Definitely pushing that sector here in St. Lucie County, but we lack the ability to prove that we are giving them this basic education
We don't have the
towards a career.
workforce.
We don't have the workforce, and we're getting there, but we need to have the workforce to attract those employers who make a huge difference in your economic welfare.
So those 2 tracks, as the kids self-identify, you got the university track and the career technical track. Now you need to help them continue to grow. So you need the career technical training, or you need the education that allows you to go to university. And now we're lucky on this track to have, and it actually helps on both tracks, an award-winning state college. So once again, IRSC is an Aspen Award finalist. Do we know if they've won yet?
I don't think they've announced if they've won yet, but they are finalists yet again.
I think they're in the top 3 this year
Yep.
for sure, and that's back-to-back, and that is the most prestigious award for state colleges in the land. So the fact that they've done it back-to-back, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that they're going to win. So we have a great state college, but you might have seen it or you might have heard it at the State of the City address. We're going to continue to push for a university because a state college stops at the bachelor's degree level. By law, they cannot give out the master's and the doctorates. And I think this room, probably as much as any room, knows that we live in an increasingly specialized, technical, fast-paced world where back in the day, my parents could get by on a high school diploma, but they told me I had to go to college and get a bachelor's degree. I tell my kids, don't stop till you have your doctorate.
Yeah.
You know, I guess at a minimum, you can get your master's.
You'd be surprised what they ask for a master's these days. But you'd also be surprised about how many want ads are for welding and electrician and front-end load. You know,
Right. And that's that other track. Yes.
And some people are very interested in that. Like my husband that's right up his alley. You know, anything mechanical or operating big machinery. You know, they had that Bob the Builder for a million years, but the reality was we weren't making any Bob the Builders here, and we really need to. I do want to say there is a construction academy at Fort St. Lucie High School, so I don't want to say we don't have it.
Does the county have one at the Logistics Center? What does the county have at the old Sam's building on US 1?
It's called the Green, somebody yell it out if they know. It's the Green County Task Force, I want to say. And they do have a bit of that. They have apprenticeships there.
For construction trades?
For construction trades. They have apprenticeships there. Green Collar, that's what it is, Green Collar Task Force. And they have apprenticeships, and they do them in partnership with the Career Source Research Coast. And those are all construction trades, so that's very helpful. But it's small, and Michelle, I know I don't know how many they have students there right now. Do you know? 16 students, you know. That's not enough. No, it's not enough, and I think everybody is aware of that. It's not enough.
No, and even on the career technical, I think that the college has made a commitment to the community to develop an industrial technical training center once they get funding.
They have.
At the college level, and I think that's probably for people who may be out of high school, maybe dropped out of high school. That's a program there at the State College. And one of the things that we continue to push for at the city is that 6th through 12th grade program. And while we do have what I call pockets of excellence, we have different programs scattered across St. Lucie County and all the campuses of the high school. We're really pushing for it to be at one campus. And the analogy I use is, have you ever heard of Fame High School for the Arts? You ever hear of that? Where you want to live forever? You know, they dance, they do fine arts.
Totally want to live there forever.
They don't want to do, they didn't put photography in one school and then, oh, we're going to do
dance,
poetry and literature in another and dance over here. They put all of the arts together so that like minds could come together and create. I mean, that's what it takes to collaborate and to dream and to do, especially creatively. And we need the same thing. It can't be an afterthought where 5 or 10 people go to, oh, and those are the technical kids. No, that's silly. You got to put them all together, I think, in one campus. And on Monday night, I believe that the council is going to consider a resolution that offers our support to the school district so that we can have an A-rated district, we can have A and B-rated schools in the city of Port St. Lucie, that we jointly use school facilities as Parks and Rec space, and that we have a career technical facility and one campus. So we're putting that into our legislation, and it's really important that and I think we're also congratulating the school district for setting a record on the graduation rate.
Yep.
Because really we're offering our partnership to the school district. Obviously, school district does their thing, they're independently elected, they're separate autonomous organization, and we're just a constituency. But in Port St. Lucie, we've heard it from the residents. This is one of the top 3 things, really, that we hear wherever we go, whenever we're out in the public. And you might have read my op-ed piece. To me, it's the #1 thing. If we want to get to prosperity and to be the shining city on a hill, we need to have top-notch education.
And I feel exactly the same way, and you know that. We've talked about it many times, but I do think that we need to have those like learners in one place where they're comfortable and they're having their high school experience that they deserve in a manner that has been kind of tailored to the way they learn. And I have two brothers and a sister. Two of them went to technical training, and that was a positive experience for them, and they met lifelong friends. And I want that for our kids as well. I really do. So the chamber has put out a white paper in saying that we are asking for that, and we want that too, so we're going to be very supportive. We're moving forward with some meetings with the school board on our own, the chamber is, and we've met with IRSC, and I'm hopeful that that facility that they're building up there on the Fort Pierce campus could be used for both in some degree or fashion. You know, we have some high school kids that have access to that learning facility as well as our post-secondary kids.
So how could you help? So earlier I asked for your help in the Adopt a Street program and keeping Port St. Lucie beautiful. With education, you could help with advocacy, and we could get all together. Let's get on a database together. Let's share information, and we'll push. But the other thing, the big thing is, especially in this meaty topic of education, is if you had to narrow it down and say, where could I push and really make a difference? It would be reading, helping kids read on level by 3rd grade. Because if they do not read on level by 3rd grade, they are less likely to graduate, significantly less likely. And then if you add poverty into the mix, they're 17 times less likely to graduate than their peers. Got to get to them by 3rd grade. Who here would be happy with a 54% grade on your test? Who would be happy with 54%? Well, that's what the state of Florida does for reading on 3rd grade level. St. Lucie County does 46%. All right, so if you're not happy with 54, you're definitely not going to be happy with 46. What could you do? You could participate in the St. Lucie SOARS program. So some of you may have read that op-ed piece and some of the literature that we put out on St. Lucie SOARS. We had 135 people sign up as a result of that push, which is a start, but it's only a start. We need more than that. And as you might have heard me say before, I mentor a child every Monday at 2:30 at a local elementary school, and if I could find the time to do it and adopt a street, quite frankly, I know you could too. And if you can't because of health or something else, please find someone as a proxy in your stead. Please make a donation so that a professional could take your place. But please pitch in. It's really easy to say that's a school district problem, or that is the parents' problem and society's changed. And I just ask you, do you want to get better or not? And if you say yes, well then you have to buy in and help.
Everything we talked about today is everything's
Am I in a soapbox? I'm sorry
I know,
about that.
I feel like that's why you're so tall. But yeah, it is a problem, and everybody should do that. You can do that through Big Brothers Big Sisters as well. You can look that up, and it's typically an hour a week in a school, in an elementary school, and you actually go to that school. You don't have to take the child with you anywhere.
Proven to make a difference, by the way.
Yes, it actually does. I think there's a huge success rate for that. But Big Brothers Big Sisters can sign you up for that, and please do it. It's really, and I hear it's the most rewarding thing. I'm one of those people that can't do it, but I have found I'm going to call the mayor my proxy. Can I do that? No.
No, as a leader, you cannot.
Okay, I'll find another one. Does anybody else do it? Okay. Moving on. Should we take some questions?
Let's do it. Yes.
All right.
We got a mic out there?
We do.
Yes,
Mark Tremblay from my office is going to come around with a mic. Please just state your question. We're going to stand up. Let Mark hold the mic. Let Mark hold the mic.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning.
Mayor. You did talk about trash, and if people see trash, they should try to do something on it. And you know my advocacy. If you see it, you can click it and then post it on Access PSL. I think you should give some mention to that.
Okay, there's an app for that. Thank you, Brian.
There's an app for that.
And do we have, will you please bring the mic to Sarah Prohaska over there and give her some FaceTime over there?
The app for that, Access PSL, he's talking about, if you take a picture of it and send it in, you're getting somebody else to come clean it up, basically, is what's happening.
Okay, Access PSL is an easy, simple, convenient way to, if you see trash, anything in the city that you want to...
Pothole, dead animal.
Yeah, just, a light, a signal, if a signal light's not working, anything, code violations.
But yes, you could, but call 911 for that.
Yeah. But you can easily take your phone, you download it, it's free. Download it into your phone. You can find that Google Play or the App Store, or you can go to our website. If you don't use your phone, if you don't have a smartphone, you can report it all through our website. And so download it, snap a picture. It's very easy. You can submit your picture. You can submit your concern. The response time is incredible. I've heard many people compliment us on the response time. So you'll immediately get a response telling you where it is in the system, how long it's going to take the city to clean it up.
Where do you download it?
You can Google Play or the App Store.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's free. It's free.
Access PSL.
It's called Access PSL. And just this week,
Access.
we had Brian over there on our PSL Living TV show that we do every week, talking about the great experiences he's had with Access PSL. And also, if you're interested and you want a tutorial on how to use it, one of our staff members is going to be at Tin Fish I believe it's the 16th, but it's on our website.
Okay.
There you go. He knows. The 16th.
The dish with District 1? Is that the
It's
dish
the Dish with District 1. It's with Councilwoman Stephanie Morgan. But we're also going to have one of our staff members available to give if you're having issues and you're not very tech savvy, we can do it all for you. Download it onto your phone. If you have questions on how to use it, we'll be there to help you out.
Very good.
It's Tin Fish on US 1 right around the corner.
Yep.
February.
On PSL Boulevard?
PSL Boulevard.
On Oroso and PSL Boulevard is where
Yeah,
Tin Fish
and
is.
you can also come talk to Councilwoman Morgan about any
It's a
other
great
issues.
event, and thank you for also
Anybody
marketing her
else
event.
have any questions? Oh, we have one up here, Mark.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. I'm
Good morning.
Erwin Sadetsky, Legislative Chair, AARP, Kings Isle. What's the status of the Civic Center area, the land? Is there any movement on it?
Well, with City Center, the property is controlled by an SEC-appointed receiver because allegedly, and there was a settlement, the owner, Lily Zong, committed fraudulent activities with the EB-5 program, which is an investment for green card program. And as a result, SEC-appointed receiver is liquidating her assets to try to provide some compensation to the people that were allegedly defrauded. And I think the receiver's at a point where he's starting to, well, he has been considering offers on the property this whole time. But I do think that in this market, there's a couple of credible developers that may be preparing offers. So I can't give you anything concrete at this point, but if you saw the State of the City address, you probably see me be very optimistic about this year and the next 2 years. I can't make a commitment on the timing, but I think you're going to see movement on both City Center and VGTI this year.
Crosstown Parkway will help with that.
Well, and really, if you think about our biggest priorities in our strategic plan, we actually have the top priorities, and Crosstown's at the top, and then you have City Center and VGTI. I think all of those things are going to be moving forward, and it's why now is so much better than being in the depths of the Depression. So we've managed to continue moving forward and improving with all this weight on our back, with all these monkeys on our back, if you want, or you want to call them an albatross, whatever metaphor you wanted to use. We've managed to march forward with that weight. Imagine how strong and fast we're going to be once the monkeys are off our back. And I think you're going to see that happen this year.
Positive growth, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Now, City Center for me, and now this is a fair policy debate with the whole council, I don't expect it to be the downtown originally envisioned. I think that it's really important for it to succeed, that you have a responsible property owner who pays taxes and provides a development which adds to our quality of life. But to try to force it to be something, I think we have to listen to the market. Because back in the day, and I don't know how long you've been here, Village Green Shopping Center failed, right? And then the next owner, well, there was more than one, they sold to DeGuardiola. DeGuardiola went bankrupt during the bust. Lily Zong committed allegedly fraudulent activities. So this one has to win. And so, and we have to recognize that the US 1 market from a household income and numbers perspective is not as strong as St. Lucie West or tradition. So, we have to be honest with ourselves.
About what we're asking for.
About what we're asking for and what is feasible there. We have to recognize that the Treasury Coast Mall and the Jensen Beach trade area overlap with this area. You're not going to get another movie theater if there's one 3 miles down the road, unless you come up with an alternative concept. If you had $200 million, would you invest in the US 1 corridor or Tradition? You have to be able to answer those questions fairly and honestly. And no matter what happens nationally, we can't ignore statistics or facts just because we don't like them. We need to be honest with ourselves if we're going to be the best version of us.
And that brings up a good point about markets. And I work at the Chamber, which is a business organization, but you have to be honest with yourself. I'm always preaching that. I think you need to be honest with yourself as a small business owner going forward to make sure you've done your homework, make sure you have your business plan, make sure you have capital. But I always get the same questions that you get, when are we getting a cheesecake factory? Why couldn't we have the Costco? And the reality is there is a formula for these things. When your market dictates that you are now eligible for a Costco or a cheesecake factory, believe me, those people want your money, they will build it. But you have to be honest with yourselves and know that we have to benchmark to the point where it makes sense for them to build, and you can't force it, because if you get them here and they fail, what does that say about our community? We don't want to see failure of anything.
Don't want to see another failure there.
Not even of a retail outlet. We don't want to see a failure.
And the Crosstown's going to help, though, because Crosstown comes right into Village Green. Now, it's not going to be as big as everyone thinks, because I think it's going to help bring the residents on the east side to the shopping and dining that exists in St. Lucie West. So don't think that that's going to be a silver bullet, but as far as relative strength, it's definitely going to help the situation. And using cheesecake as a proxy, it's a great proxy.
Yeah.
I arrived in the city in 2002. I've been hearing the cheesecake question
For as long as I can remember.
For that long.
Yep.
And roughly, if you have 100,000 people making $100,000,
You'll get a cheesecake factory.
Roughly.
And you can send an email, but it ain't going to help.
No, but I even have a better one, because in 2005, when we were the fastest growing, well, this could have been between 2005 and 2007, high flying days, recognized by U.S. Census, fastest growing community in the country. I was at the trade show in Vegas, and I went to the cheesecake booth, and I said, how much would it take? How much money would it take to get you located in PSL? Because I just wanted a flat-out answer to this age-old question.
Yes.
Didn't even return my note.
No.
That's how high we were
They'll
on
tell
the
you when
radar
you're ready.
list.
Yeah. They'll let you know when you're
Don't
when you're
call
ready.
us, we'll call you.
Yeah. Very good. Those are some great questions. I know. Anybody else have anything? We have time
Take
for one more
more.
question. Very good. In the back. Lois. This is Waste Pro, so this could be good.
I have a compliment, actually.
Oh.
I would just like to say, and I don't know who's responsible, but the wraparound graphics that are popping up on all the transformer boxes have
He
turned
loves
some
that.
really unsightly intersections into something beautiful and nice to look at.
I happen to
Well,
know
thank
this
you.
guy is super excited about that project. Too,
No,
so,
it is. And again, just thank the whole team, the city council, and past members of the city council. That's been a push for a long time. And thank you, because the recycling money is what helps fund that. And so we have an agreement with Waste Pro and also the county. So not only keep Port St. Lucie beautiful, make sure you sort your recyclables, because those get sold in the secondary market, and then that money helps fund neighborhood planning and other programs like the utility wrap box. And then just talking strategically again, we have to have good information so we can make sound decisions based on facts. And the other thing strategically that you like to do is turn a weakness into a strength, right? That works in your personal life, it works in your professional life. So those utility boxes, they can ruin an intersection, they can ruin a development when they're not properly placed, but all of a sudden, now they're a palette for a very accessible, very affordable public art that's being funded by our recycling. So really, it's a win-win. Right now, we're using natural imagery in a lot of spots, which reinforces who we are.
Some of it's unsettling, because I think it's a bird starting to cross the street, and I'm like, oh.
Do we have any tortoises?
Yeah. But they're very realistic, some of them are. A couple out in Tradition and West's neighborhood. That brings up a good point. So the public art is not paying for that? Public art is the recycling that's paying for that?
I believe it's the neighborhood planning program.
Very good.
And if you don't know, well, I'm sure you know that you're only as strong as your weakest link. And so it's very important for us as we see Western Port St. Lucie and Tradition. I mean, Tradition is going gangbusters right now. The hospital is adding 3 floors. Wawa's about to open. You got Panda Express, more restaurants opening. You have Kaiser getting ready to open. You have a dentistry going in out there. You have another assisted living facility, recovery sports bar and grill, 75,000 square foot office coming out of the ground now. Another 60,000 is already pre-leased. You had Hopcat make an announcement on the lake. So you just have a lot of action there. You have WCI that took down Western Grove. They got preliminary approval for their 461 units. You've had Vitalia get approval for additional units in there because they're basically sold out. Del Webb, high-end national brand, destination adult living. They've got their first plat approved in Southern Grove, which is, Tradition south of the hospital and Torrey Pines down there. So as that comes out of the ground, it's really important that the rest of the city keep pace. And the old section of the city, it has to rise with the rest, and that's where the neighborhood planning comes in. Because if you're familiar with the city, you know that not every neighborhood has a name. Section 35, Section 24, because GDC created us in sections. That's the name of some of these neighborhoods. Imagine if you called your child, "Hi, Section 31, how are you today?"
Or child number 4.
Yeah, does that say, that child number 4 sounds better than Section 31, so that doesn't say love. So we're going into those neighborhoods, and we're talking to the community about what they want it to be. What do you want your name of your neighborhood to be? What kind of gateway feature would you like to recognize the boundaries of your neighborhood? Where should there be art? Where should there be parks? Where should there be sidewalks? We're doing that on a neighborhood by neighborhood basis, and we really pushed hard on the utility wraps as a result of that.
They look nice.
Thank you.
All right, well, we are going to do one more thing. Every month at this breakfast? Yeah.
Coffee.
Coffee.
No, you can't call it breakfast unless you start providing eggs.
We just have Danish. So coffee. We honor our community impact winner of the month.
Excellent.
I always want to give it a different name, but I usually get it right. Community impact winner, and we do that with the Children's Services Council. As you know, they were established by referendum, and they kind of dole out the monies to the nonprofits, and I think they have about 53 programs with this year that they actually help fund, and they are after school. They get kids off the street, prevent drug use and teen pregnancy, and they've done really good job with that, actually.
What are the 4 pillars? Are there 4 pillars?
There's
five pillars? What are they?
I can name them, but I'm afraid if I get any part wrong, I'm going to get in trouble.
Go to the expert. Come on up.
Well, he's not mic'd, so maybe Mark give him the mic.
Mark, give him the mic.
I'll start. It's keeping kids off the street, decreasing teen pregnancy. Nah. Yeah. I got one.
We'll go to the expert.
First of all, the award is called the Community Impact Award, so you're almost there. You said Community Impact, no award, but just technicality.
The award
Gotta
was
call you out on it.
implied.
So the 5 pillars are: 1, making sure every baby's a healthy baby.
Yeah.
2, stopping child abuse before it happens. 3, keeping kids off the streets. 4, keeping them in school. And 5, keeping them off drugs, alcohol, and other risky behaviors.
Thank you, Sean Boyle.
That was a lot better than what I did, wasn't it? I gave it a whirl.
He's paid to say that.
I know it. All right, so when we come back, we're gonna hand somebody off, somebody that works with that nonprofit. I like this because it's somebody that works every day in one of those nonprofits that gets this award every month. So, and then we give an overall annual award to somebody at our business and industry, the Chamber's Business and Industry Awards in September.
Not for nothing, but that's why I'm so hopeful that we can really get there on education and raising the community, because the community's already created a dedicated funding source to those pillars. And if you heard those pillars, they obviously reinforce education. So the resources are there, hardworking, caring people are there. They just need all of our help, all of us to come together and act in unison. So it's not okay just to have pockets of excellence. It's not okay to try to do things but go in different directions so you get nowhere. We have to all work together and align to carry out our goals and our mission. And that's why we should be so hopeful.
You said
we have
pocket
good
of
leaders
excellence, and you pointed at our international junior Miss Florida who's with us today. So I'm pretty sure she's a pocket.
Of excellence?
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
I'm pretty sure. Very good. All right, everybody. Well, we'll be right back, and we're going to give away the Community Impact Award, as I was corrected. So, yeah, we'll do that in just a few minutes. Welcome back, back to Coffee with the PSL Mayor. I'm Teresa Aronson. We just finished up speaking with, of course, the Honorable Gregory Oravec, Mayor of Port St. Lucie. And now we're visiting with Children's Services Council Executive Director to give out, that's a lot of words, people, just so you know. A lot of words. Children's Services Council to give out the Community Impact Award. Thank you.
Bingo.
All right. And you're going to edit that, right? So it seems like it just came out,
Negative.
seamlessly.
We can get cue cards.
I won't follow them. I famously do not follow them. Ask Loretta. She gives me an agenda every meeting. Doesn't help.
Okay.
All right. So Sean Boyle is the Executive Director of Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. Please tell us, who did you bring to honor this month? A lovely lady, and I'm going to give you the award so you can talk a little bit about her.
You already made me go through our 5 pillars, but one of them
Which I
is...
failed at
That was my fault.
miserably.
Yes,
I got one.
Our first one is making sure every baby's a healthy baby. And we do that through the nurse home visitation and the brain visit and so on. But
What is that, by the way?
which one? The brain?
Brain visit
No,
or
the nurse's visit.
So in St. Lucie County, when a mother gives birth, regardless of the hospital, as long as she's a St. Lucie resident, within 1 week of returning home from the hospital, a registered nurse will go to the home of the mother to check on the health of the mother, the health of the baby, and having been there, speaking from experience, the stress level of the father, and to answer all questions and to make sure that that baby is healthy as well as the mother. And that program has literally saved both mothers and babies' lives.
Yes, because it's available to anybody. It doesn't matter about
It's
your
available to
ECHO.
anybody? Any St. Lucie County
Anybody.
It's universal.
Every St. Lucie.
It doesn't matter what you make, where you work, who you are. It's available to everybody.
Last year, 92% of all births had a nurse home visit.
Wow.
And it is a lifesaver. There's so much they can assess at that time, and you want to catch it early. So
The award winner, though, isn't affiliated with that program.
keeping kids off the street.
What I was leading to is it's important as parents to understand that when you have an infant and a toddler, that play isn't just play. It's actually very informative for brain development and to build that bond with the parents. So Denise Hennis from Helping People Succeed runs the Baby Steps Play Group to work with parents to help them bond with their children, but also learn the developmental stages and how to learn interactive play. So our award winner this month, and she actually operates out of a city-owned building. So she knows you. Is Denise Hennis from the Helping People Succeed Baby Steps program.
Thank you.
You're supposed to say, and I know her. Congratulations, Denise. We're going to give you that mic so you can tell us just a little bit about how long you've been with the program and what the program is called. Because I'm sure you said it, but it was a lot of words.
I might have messed it up.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor,
No, it's our
for
pleasure.
providing this opportunity through your civic leadership. Very important. St. Lucie County Chambers, thank you for the opportunity you provide with providing information and networking to all of our community.
Sure. Happy to
And
do so.
Children's Services Council, thank you for all your support through the grant funding and the support that you provide your programs through. I work under the Agency of Helping People Succeed Incorporated.
Oh, okay.
And I provide Baby Steps Playgroups. Playgroups are a great opportunity in this community where we build relations with parents and infants and toddlers. It's free through funding through Children's Services Council. So this way there are no barriers in accessing what a family might need. Family with a newborn baby, all the way up to age 5.
Okay.
Everyone is welcome that's in that population at the Port St. Lucie Community Center. It's a nice, welcoming
You can have
community.
a baby, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
That's the one qualification.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I'll have a parent that just says, I need to come and connect. I'm like, do you have your child today or not? But it's okay. So it's an uplifting atmosphere. So importantly and inspiring, families are building relationships with each other in the community. Children are feeling that impact while working on milestones, exploring, identifying all their strengths. We're supporting their strengths and weaknesses and linking to community resources as well. Embracing families with what works for them.
And I just want to ask that question. You said you guys have benchmarks and milestones that kids should be meeting,
There's a
right?
window.
And if they're not, are you kind of giving them the resources, like your kid should have been walking now at 6?
And
And then you say, we need to get you
unless
somewhere
they're
else.
strong readers, sometimes as we're promoting reading on the laps of the parent, they might be, we're going to make sure to see if they're very interested in books or if they're walking now.
Okay.
But
So
yes.
you'll provide other
So we'll
help.
talk about developmental stages.
I don't have kids, so I don't know, but I'm sure at 6 they should
So
walk.
let me share, if I can, share a real quick story, and this shows the impact that Denise has had. I was at a community event,
Okay.
and Denise was there, and it was unrelated to babies and infants, really. And a woman came up to Denise. I was standing there talking to Denise, and she said, "Do you remember me?" She's like, "Oh, I remember you. You know, your child. How old is your child now? Your child's 12 now." She had that child when that child was probably, what, one or two. But this woman credits Denise because her daughter, when she was 1 or 2, had a speech impediment.
Oh.
Now, the parents probably, I think they knew their child should walk before 5, but maybe didn't understand that baby talk sometimes isn't baby talk, it's actually a speech impairment.
Right.
So Denise helped them identify that early so that she could go to early steps and get the support so that now everything is fine.
No, and I think it's common. Probably new parents don't know. If it's your first child, you don't really know. You're Googling stuff, but it's helpful to have reassurance of what really they should be at. So, what a great program.
And then another quick story, and I'm going to relate this to the mayor. So the mayor and I, he knows that I love basketball. We played basketball together.
It's true. He won.
And I won. And that's the end of the story. No. But you know, we go out and we take pictures of our programs, and Denise has been great about sending us pictures. And you know, we hear
It wasn't one-on-one, by the way.
No, it
just for the
wasn't.
record. So I
He
would
had
totally.
help. Sean had help.
I because I stayed away from the mayor. But I know my strengths and weaknesses. We go
It's
out
fast.
and we get pictures of the play groups. And when you hear play groups, a lot of times you think, oh, it's all mothers and their babies. But in the picture, there's this gentleman there, a gentleman that I play basketball with on my basketball team. And I talked to him. He's a firefighter, and so he has days off. He takes his child to the play group. So I want to make sure that people understand it's not just for mothers and us being fathers. We know that we need to get involved as well. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Very good. Thank you.
So it's always important, though, where can they access it? What buildings? What times?
How do you sign up?
Yeah, how do you sign up? We got to get that out there.
Basically, I try to provide it as welcoming as needed. Parents can actually just show up. It's located at the Port St. Lucie Community Center. On Helping People Succeed, you can contact Helping People Succeed at 772-320-0770 and inquire about playgroups. Also, you can call the Port St. Lucie Community Center, who is so welcoming and tries to provide whatever service they can to help the families have the opportunity. And the Port St. Lucie Community Center phone number is 772-878-2277, as well as contacting Children's Services Council. And we even have Port St. Lucie Macaroni Kid, who is a former parent, who posts it on their website as well. So you can call and register, or you can just come in. I know.
When do you come in? Do you do a regular day?
Okay, we have Tuesdays from 9:30 to 11 for parents with toddlers, which is children walking up until age 5. Then we have families with babies from 11 to 12 on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, we have the toddler time from 10 to 11:30. Baby time from 11:30 to 12. And then we provide an opportunity from 5 to 7 on the playground, the best kept little secret at the community center, on the playground for parents that are working or even that stay at home that find that 5 o'clock time, the child has some energy, what resources, do they just need to come out and feel connected. So 5 to 7 on the playground at the community center on Wednesdays. And then we have Thursday mornings, 9 to 12 on the playground. And again, that's an opportunity for the child, the parent, to come out in nature, work on their gross motor milestones, fine motor, have some Zen time, connect with other families in the community. I can go on and on about all the milestones that are accomplished, all the dedication and hard work that families in this community put forth and in connecting and making relationships. And we know relationships building early on is one of the keys to early literacy, growth and development, and I can go on and on and on. So thank you.
I don't think we ever gave her the plaque, Sean. I think we need to actually present the plaque. Oh, she gave it back.
I took it back from her.
Okay, she gave it
I
back.
was paying attention.
Well, congratulations,
Yes,
Denise.
thank you for all that you
I
do.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. All righty, everybody, that is it for today. Again, I'm Trissa Aronson from the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank, of course, Treasure Coast Healthcare System. I want to thank Sean Boyle from Children's Services and congratulate Denise. And of course, this man right here, we're going to do it again next month, second Friday, 8:30 a.m. right here at the City Hall in Council Chambers. It's free. It's open to the public. And we
Trissa's
will
making
give you...
eggs next time for breakfast. Yes.
Nobody wants that.
Yes.
Trust me. Now that's a liability that I do not want to take on. But anyway, thank you all for joining us here in the audience today, and we will see you next time.